We're always told that science, with enough time and enough data, can basically answer everything. But what if that's not quite right? What if there are some questions so big, so fundamental, that science itself simply can't touch them? Today, we are heading right to the very edge of cosmology to explore the absolute limits of what we can know. It all kicks off with the ultimate origin story. I mean, for as long as we've been human, we've looked up at the stars and asked that most basic question you could imagine. Where did all of this come from? And of course, if you ask about the beginning, the next question is always about the end. What is the ultimate fate of everything we see? It's the other bookend to our entire existence, right? Okay, so the story you usually hear these days is one of incredible confidence. We're told that modern cosmology, with its amazing theories and powerful instruments, is right on the verge of giving us the final, definitive answers to these massive questions. So let's get specific. What are these ultimate questions that are really pushing science to its breaking point? Let's go ahead and define that frontier of what we think we can know. It really boils down to three grand challenges: the beginning of the universe, its end, and then there's that truly mind-bending possibility of a multiverse. Now, these aren't just tricky science problems. They actually challenge the very way we think about knowledge itself. And this is where we get to the heart of it all: a potential crisis of capability. Is the scientific method, the very toolkit we use to make sense of the world, actually up to this particular task? So let's remember what the scientific method is all about. It's our gold standard for a reason. It's so powerful because its claims are based on stuff we can actually observe, test, and, this is the crucial part, potentially prove false. That idea of falsifiability is everything. It's what keeps science honest. And then, bam, we hit this wall. The conclusion here is incredibly blunt and, honestly, a little startling. When it comes to these ultimate questions, our toolkit is empty. This isn't about not being smart enough. It's a fundamental limitation of the method itself. So, why do our tools fail? Well, it's actually pretty logical when you break it down. We can't observe the origin because, well, how could we? It happened before any observer could possibly exist. We can't witness the end because it's in a future none of us will be around for, and other universes, if they're out there, by their very definition, they're beyond any way for us to contact them or get any information. There's just nothing to test. And this is the key point. Without the ability to test our ideas against cold, hard reality, what are we actually left with? Well, our most brilliant, most sophisticated theories become, in essence, a kind of structured speculation, a high-stakes intellectual gamble. This whole limitation forces us to draw a very important, and maybe, for some, an uncomfortable line. It's the line between what we can truly call scientific knowledge and what might be better described as a system of belief. Okay, that's a really provocative statement, but it's so important to understand what it's getting at. This is not dismissing the incredible logic or the beautiful math involved. It's a point about epistemology, about how we know what we claim to know. When you accept an idea that cannot be proven or disproven, that requires a leap of faith. And that's true whether you're talking about a divine being or an untestable mathematical model of the cosmos. This table really lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got your standard empirical science. It's based on testable data, and it creates a body of knowledge that you can always challenge and try to falsify. On the other side, you have this speculative cosmology. It's based on logical inference, sure, but it creates a system of belief that is by its nature unfalsifiable. Two very different things. But wait, it gets even deeper. The limits don't just stop with our external tools, our telescopes and particle accelerators. There's a much more profound barrier, and that's the very structure of our own minds. You could call it the prison of our perception. I mean, think about it. We build our entire understanding of the universe using tools that we created: language, mathematics, logic. These are human distinctions. They're the ways we chop up realities so that our brains can make sense of it. But here's the kicker. Does reality itself actually have those same neat little boxes? And the answer is probably not. You know that old saying, the map is not the territory? Well, our map of the cosmos, no matter how elegant and mathematical it is, might not actually match the territory of reality itself. The concept of infinity is a perfect example of this. It's a total mind-bender, right? We use it in our math all the time. But could our tiny, finite minds ever truly grasp what it means for reality to be infinite? We'd just be slapping a label on something that is, at its core, completely beyond our comprehension. So, after all this, does it just mean science has failed? Is it a huge downer? Absolutely not. In fact, this is where we find a new and maybe even more profound kind of triumph. It's the triumph of knowing what we can't know. Recognizing this boundary isn't a weakness, it's an incredible strength. It's a sign of profound intellectual honesty that actually protects the hard-won credibility of science. It keeps it grounded in what is actually testable and knowable. This honesty, this kind of scientific humility, is one of its greatest assets. And this brings us to our big takeaway, this idea of epistemic humility. Now, this isn't just about passively saying, oh, I don't know. No, it's an active, rigorous, scientific discipline. It's about taking the time to map out the precise boundaries of our own knowledge. Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Maybe the greatest discovery that cosmology can ever offer us isn't the final answer to everything, but rather a profound and certain understanding of our own limits. What do you think?